Deals on amazing cars are going on now at your Hyundai dealer. Visit buyhyundai.com today. By Jack in the Box. Taste the all-new Brewhouse Bacon Burger today for limited time only at participating restaurants. By your Southern California Toyota dealers. By Mercury Insurance, on a mission to save you money. Log on to mercuryinsurance.com to get a fast free quote and see how much you can save. And by the Jeep Renegade. Find your inner renegade and reach your highest potential with an EPA estimated 31 highway miles per gallon.
Yeah, you're getting ready for the start of the game. You see the bases and special bases so far for this game here tonight. As Taijuan Walker takes the mound here for Seattle. What a special ceremony that was for Ken Griffey Jr. So many greats from Seattle, from all the sports, from the past and present, part of this incredible night.
Mariners have taken the field, so we'll check out Mike Scioscia's starting lineup for the Angels. They come into this one with a 49-60 record, and Escobar will lead things off at third base. Cole Calhoun at right, Mike Trout at center, Albert Pujols back at that DH spot. Andrelton Simmons is batting in the 5 spot. He is the shortstop. G-Man Choi at left. Jeffrey Marte at first. Carlos Perez behind the plate tonight, and Johnny Giavitello makes his start at second base, and he will bat ninth as they take on the soon-to-be 24-year-old right-hander native of Yucaipa, California, by the name of Taijuan Walker.
Taijuan Walker does have a power fastball. He's throwing the ball well against the Angels in his career. 92-96. He'll also throw a cut fastball, curveball, changeup. My go-tos to be successful against Walker is make sure you get in those fastball counts for power. He will give up the long ball and channel your inner Ricky. Ricky Henderson here today. You can steal bases against Walker. You have to be very aggressive against him here today when you get some base runners.
Let's check out the defense for Seattle behind the young right-hander. It's Heredia, Martin, and Gutierrez in the outfield from left to right. Seager and O'Malley on the left side. Cano and Lee on the right. Chris Sinetta behind the plate.
And you got Robinson Cano playing that second base position. Has been very solid once again there. .996 fielding percentages. Leads Major League Baseball as far as second baseman in that category. Has won 2 Gold Gloves back in 2010 and 2012 for Robinson Cano. Don't you know?
It is a capacity crowd here at Safeco. They're saying with the standing room only tickets that they sold that it could be their largest crowd. They were here early. Some folks lining up, as they said, about 8, 9 a.m. for this 6:40 first pitch. Terrific ceremony. It lasted just about 50, 55 minutes. Escobar digging in at the plate. Ready to get this thing started. Comes in batting .322 with 3 home runs and 32 runs batted in. First one tonight, a fastball for a strike. Now last night opening up the game, the very first pitch with a double out to left center field. Quickly behind tonight at no balls, 2 strikes.
One thing about Walker, he will pitch inside very effectively though. 18 home runs allowed in 86 innings pitched. That's 1 every 5 innings pitched. So he'll throw that high fastball when he brings it down around belt high to letter high. That's when you connect on it and drive it.
One ball, 2 strikes. Dribbler foul. Walker just activated off the disabled list today. Was placed on the DL on July the 6th with tendonitis in his right foot. 17th start of the season. 4-7 and a 3.66 ERA. This one misses outside. He's pitched much better at home than he has out on the road. As a matter of fact, 9 starts here at Safeco. ERA under 3 at 2.75 on the road. His ERA over 5 with a 1-4 mark. And he has struggled against right-handed batters, which is odd considering the stuff that he possesses.
Yeah, when you think about it, batting average for lefties against him, 189, but 287, like you said, Victor, against right-handed batters. What that tells you, and when I look at all his percentage of pitches thrown, throws a lot more fastballs to right-handed batters.
There's ball 4. He got ahead at 0-2, and Escobar works the leadoff walk.
And my Hyundai key for this game for the Angels to be successful. A little hard up here in Washington. Kick it out. Going back to that long ball against Walker. I mentioned 18 home runs in 86 innings pitched for Walker. So he'll make some mistakes. That's when you got to kick it out of the ballpark here today. Square it up and go a long way. Baseball carrying once again today.
Cole's batting average down to .269. He's 2 for his last 21. 0 for 3 last night with a run scored. Shift on, and he lines this one up the alley in left center field, and that is going to get by Leonis Martin. Goes into the slide, keeps it from going to the warning track as Cole dives into second with a double.
Well, you talk about staying down and through the baseball. Cole absolutely tattooed that fastball, lines it. That little sink action, stayed back on it well, using the middle of the field, and almost got it all the way to the wall. Being able to slide and keep it Escobar from scoring all the way from first, but a double. Good swing there from Cole Calhoun.
So Trout will bat with 2 on. Nobody out here in the first, as he did last night when he homered on Felix Hernandez. Foul tipped into the mid. No balls in a strike. That double, by the way, for Cole, the first extra base hit that he's had since July 26th in Kansas City.
But like we said the last few days, he's starting to really look comfortable back at the plate. The results not necessarily there, but that swing, the results were there.
Trout lifts this one. First base shot, it'll go into the seats. And it's no balls, 2 strikes.
But just talking with Trouty earlier today, this smile he had on his face, knowing this big special day for Ken Griffey Jr., what he did in that center field position all the way to the Hall of Fame, and the way he loved and enjoyed the game of baseball.
Trout last night 1 for 4. He fouls that one straight back. Got a fastball to drive. Cal remains at no balls, 2 strikes. Escobar will lead off walk. Calhoun with a double, putting runners at second and third. Inetta sets up outside. It's a breaking ball. 2-1. Got around that pitch.
See, that's the reason why he's had some tough times against right-handed batters. He's trying to force that breaking ball. He's got a cut fastball and a curveball. Changeup, probably his second best pitch.
And that is hammered out to deep left field, and for the second straight night, Mike Trout with a 3-run blast to give the Angels a 3-0 lead.
Wow, back-to-back nights. First inning, 2 on, no out, 3 in with that swing again from Mike Trout. He's got that foot down. Boy, he was able to bring his hands inside that baseball. We showed on our tools of the trade the difference in the swings between Griffey Jr. and Trout. Trout a little more short and compact through the baseball. Wow, that ball was crushed.
Albert lifts this one out to left. Heredia came in, backs up now. Little 2-step to put it away for the out.
Boy, what a swing. Ow. Wow. The sound off that bat. That looked like it could have been a changeup there. Again, that's the second pitch he goes to. A lot of fastballs against right-handed batters for Walker. And we talked about the long ball against him already prevalent in the game.
Andrelton will look at a strike. First time that Trout has homered in back-to-back games since June, when he homered in 3 straight. June 25th through the 27th. It was against Oakland and Houston. Simmons loops one toward short, and O'Malley can't handle it. Goes into left field for a base hit. Andrelton had his 5-game hitting streak snapped last night. Picks up a knock here in his first at bat.
Those 2 toe taps before he gets his hands extended, and his swing path is able to get this baseball by O'Malley at short. A timing mechanism he's got back. Used to do it early on with Atlanta. Went away from more of a higher leg kick, but that 2 toe taps has really worked well for Simmons.
One out, one on. 3-0 Angels. Trout with a home run. Deja vu all over again. G-Man Joy last night went 0 for 2. Back out on left with Marte at first. Marte on deck. Inning started with Escobar falling behind it. No balls, 2 strikes to start the game, and then eventually worked the walk.
We talk about taking some energy out of this crowd right away. That swing by Trout.
Well, it happened last night for the Angels. Be up to Tyler Skaggs to put up a 0 at the bottom of the first. Unfortunately, Tim Lincecum unable to do that last night. It kind of snowballed on him. Angels today announcing that they've designated for assignment the veteran right-hander. As Joy hits one towards second, glove by Cano on the backhand, feeds O'Malley for 1. They turn a double play. Nice play by Robinson Cano to the backhand, but the Angels strike for the second straight night of the first, courtesy of that guy right there, Mike Trout, a 3-run blast.
What a swing that was. Back-to-back nights leading off the game with a 3-run home run for Mike Trout.
At the bottom of the first inning, we'll check out Scott Service's lineup for the Seattle Mariners. 7 games back in the West at the start of the day with a 55-53 record. That's Guillermo Heredia leading things off in left field. Franklin Gutierrez in right. Robinson Cano at second. Nelson Cruz the DH. Daeho Lee the first baseman. Kyle Seager at third. Chris Sinetta, the former Angel, behind the plate. Leonis Martinez center and Sean O'Malley batting ninth for the second straight night. He is playing shortstop as they take on Tyler Skaggs, making his third start, and so far so good. 13 strikeouts and 12 1/3, just 7 hits allowed.
Yeah, and his 3 walks also, so the command has been there for Tyler Skaggs. My go-tos for him to be successful tonight is that downhill command, staying on top of that fastball, same thing with his curve, and snap off that curveball. It has been very effective, especially head of the count for a swing and miss.
Heredia will look at a strike. Guillermo got into the game late last night as a defensive replacement, had a plate appearance. Ended up working a walk. Takes inside. 9th game at the major league level. He's 2 for 14. 25-year-old native of Cuba, defected last year and did not sign until March of this year. Teams were worried about how his game would play at this level. The Mariners taking a chance on him. Didn't spend a whole lot of money. And he crushed Double-A and Triple-A. Now here he is in the big leagues. He chops this one to the left side. Escobar has it. One down. The Angels defensively stack up like this. Choi, Trout, Calhoun in the outfield. Escobar, Simmons, Giavotella, Marte in the infield from third to first. And Carlos Perez behind the plate.
And I'll tell you, anytime with Tyler on the mound, you're going to get a lot of ground ball action. Johnny Giavotella has been very solid of late. Only one error in his last 28 games. And with Skaggs keeping that ball down, whether it's his fastball curve or change, the infielder is very active. Look for Johnny Giavotella. Get a lot of ground balls his way. .985 fielding percentage this year.
Gutierrez, 71st game this year, .237 average, 10 home runs and 26 runs batted in. Re-signing with Seattle in the offseason. Takes down and in. And start tonight at right field. A lot of new faces in this lineup with a left-hander on the mound compared to last night. Drives this one out to center field, hit well. Trout racing back, not going to get there. It'll hop over the fence for a double.
Lower part of the strike zone, middle part of the plate, 94-mile-an-hour fastball. Gutierrez goes down and gets that one, drives it to center field. One hops over that center field wall. You talk about hitting a baseball hard on the line. That's exactly what he did there. It's 7 double.
So man at second and Robinson Cano at the plate. Cano last night 1 for 5. Had an RBI. We'll take down and away.
Robinson Cano 3 for 4 in his career versus Tyler Skaggs with a couple RBI.
Slow breaking ball. That is pulled down the line, a fair ball and into the corner. Gutierrez will score. The Mariners with back-to-back doubles here in the bottom of the first get a run back. It's 3-1 Angels.
First run that Tyler Skaggs has allowed this season at the major league level. Again, Robinson Cano continues to swing the bat well. Again, Skaggs 4 for 5 now in his career. Went down and got this pitch and just gets it over the head of Marte and down in the corner. 26 double, 70th RBI for Robinson Cano. No, it's early in the game, Victor, but this is a big moment for Skaggs and the Angels. You don't want to allow them to get right back in it like they did last night after a 3-run home run by Trout.
Nelson Cruz takes low. Cruz a 1 for 5 night last night with a run scored. Has Cano at second.
Tyler Skaggs had 29 straight scoreless innings, including his last 26 innings down in Triple-A. And his 12 1/3 up in the big leagues, and coming into today with 1 out.
Cruz skies one, foul and out of play. Two-one count. .44 home runs a season ago, 93 RBIs. second year with Seattle. Lays off the high fastball. A couple of favorable counts for the Mariners, which has not been the case for Tyler in his first 2 starts. Back-to-back doubles. Mariners plating a run here at the bottom of the first.
Good off-speed pitcher and a fastball count.
Payoff on the way. Cruz takes a called strike, 3 on the inside part of the plate. 2 down.
Great location. That's a perfect sequence. Off speed followed by a fastball in. Paints the corner at 94. It's one thing I had a conversation with Tyler just the other day about how he's feeling on the mound as far as his command, his location. He said he really loves the way he's been able to get fastballs in against right-handed batters.
It's a big neutralizer, especially the power guys.
Especially if you're a left-handed pitcher. That's not easy to be able to do, and then it sets up the curveball to be able to get a swing and miss, especially in the dirt.
Dae-Ho Lee at the play with 2 outs and Cano at second. 3-1 Angels in the bottom of the first. Foul tips that one out of the glove. By the way, James Hoy calling the balls and strikes tonight. Gabe Morales at first, Marvin Hudson at second. Jim Joyce, the crew chief, at third base. Dae-Ho Lee at .260 average with 13 home runs and 41 runs batted in. First season in Major League Baseball. 34-year-old coming over from South Korea. Oh! 0-2. He's been great off the bench for service in the Mariners. 6 for 19 with a couple of home runs, 7 RBIs. First baseman by trade. 0-2. This is sharply hit to short. Simmons will scoop it up, fire to first, and Skaggs limits the damage. Back-to-back doubles puts the Mariners on the board, with the Angels on top 3-1 as we head to the second. Inning, Tyler Skaggs giving up a run on a couple of hits, but nothing more. Bottom third of the order coming up for the Angels, and Marte, Perez, and Giavatello to face Taijuan Walker. Ground ball to short. Marte swinging first pitch is the first out of the second inning. Hey, get your red on as the Angels take on Seattle on Monday, August 15th. That is immediately following this road trip, and fans in attendance will receive a Panama golf hat courtesy of San Diego Zoo Safari Park. While supplies last, go to angels.com/promotions to get your tickets.
Can't wait for that hat.
One out, nobody on for Carlos Perez. Takes a fastball for a strike. Carlos comes in batting .217. Sorry, give me 5 home runs and 27 RBIs.
Yeah, Victor, both these young pitchers have good power arms.
Carlos shoots one out to right center. Martin was shading Carlos that way. 2 down.
Big difference between the two, though, is Skaggs' ability to throw his curveball not only for strikes but also ahead of the count to get a swing and miss. About percentages of pitches thrown for Walker. 12% cut fastball, I should say 10%, 8% curveball, 18% changeup, so a lot of fastballs. Over 70% when you put fastball and cut fastball together against them. So a lot of firm stuff. That's why you could square up a mistake.
Johnny at .270 with 6 home runs, 29 RBIs. Has 20 doubles on the year. Sad last night with Pennington getting a start at second. 1 ball, 1 strike. Walker still trying to find that breaking ball. Just off the plate. Ground ball to the right side. Lee will take it himself. Walker with a 1-2-3 second. We'll head to the bottom of the inning with the Angels leading it. Ken Griffey Jr. number retired. The first Mariners number to be retired, and it sits out in the left center field area right next to Jackie Robinson's number 42. No player in Mariner history will ever wear that number, whether it's in the big leagues or the minor leagues. And you figure that the next number that they retire will be the number 51 for Randy Johnson and Ichiro Suzuki.
Yes, and Edgar Martinez not too far behind, I would think.
Kyle Seager leads things off, takes a strike. Seager comes in batting .277, has 20 home runs and 67 runs batted in. Fouls this one down the left field line and out of play. 0-2 count.
Got good life on the fastball.
Pulls this one through the right side, a base hit. Breaking ball. Leadoff man on.
And now it's in the time for the driver's seat, brought to you by Kia. Speaking of Ken Griffey Jr., who's been in the driver's seat, who had his career one of 3 players ever to at least 500 or more home runs plus 10 gold gloves. The other 2, Willie Mays, Mike Schmidt. That break ball right there, Victor, a little bit too much to the plate. It was down. He wanted that down and in. It ended up being the middle part of the plate, and that's why Seager was able to stay back on that and find the hole for a single.
I think a telling sign is that you got a guy that is hitting .194 against left-handers this year. Looks comfortable on a breaking ball. There's your answer as to whether or not you've got a good breaking ball, at least here in the early going. Chris Cincinnati with a 1-0 count. He'll drive this one out to left center field. That ball's hit well. Trout racing back at the wall, will track it down, makes the catch. Seager had rounded second, has to retouch, hustles back to first.
Now, we talked a lot about the similarities. Hopefully Trout's okay. Still a little bit under the weather. Had to go a long way to run that one down. See how far he's going to start from, right from the 4 on that 24 in center field, and how far he's got to go to run that one down just in front of the wall. Eye on the baseball, knows exactly where that wall is going to be, reaches up and holds on to the baseball. So similar to Ken Griffey Jr. The speed in the outfield, the fearless defensive play, and of course the power swing.
Chris Cincinnati just hitting now into the wrong spot in this ballpark. Gave that one a ride, but it's the out. The first here in this inning. Martin jumping on that first pitch, comes up empty. The center fielder hitting .245. 13 home runs, 13 runs batted in, or pardon me, 33 runs batted in. Had a multi-hit game last night, going 2 for 3.
Still a great shot with Trout standing out there by that number 24 in center field. Hall of Famer Ken Griffey Jr. Trout on his way to that same type of accomplishment, what he's done so far in his career.
Checking in on Seager, led off the inning with a base hit to right.
Slight mislocation here for Tyler. Coming into this game, his first 2 starts, as far as strike percentage, just a little bit under 69% of his pitches have been in the strike zone. First 2 starts.
This one's flared out to left field. Joy has to come in on it. 2 down.
Very good once again, pitching inside to a left-handed batter for Tyler Skaggs.
Man at first, 2 down. Sean O'Malley coming to the plate.
Boy, just like you said last night, they were up there hacking at that first pitch.
No balls, 2 strikes. O'Malley, the switch hitter, hitting .244. 7 doubles, a triple, a home run, 10 RBIs. Ketel Marte, the opening day shortstop for Seattle, on the disabled list. Jammed with that fastball. Talk about running that in on the hands. Still at 0-2.
Back the fastball in, the pitch before with another fastball in. Most hitters will look away or look off speed the very next pitch after a fastball in. Good decision by Skaggs and Perez. Throw over the first base. Just to make sure Seager doesn't get a running start. Anytime as a base runner against a left-handed pitcher, just going on first movement, always a good decision is to show you're paying attention to him.
Called strike 3 on the outside part of the plate. Down goes O'Malley. We will head to the 3rd with the Angels up 3-1. On the Mariners at 7:05. Visit angels.com/ducks to get tickets to an exclusive ticket package that includes a ticket to the game and a co-branded hat. Angels.com/ducks for more details. Top of the order against Taijuan Walker as Yunel Escobar takes ball one. Escobar led off the first with a walk. And scored on Trout's 3-run home run. This one's fouled back. Oh, that may have almost taken out Terry Smith next door.
That was real close. The Gold Glover, Mark Langston, had it covered, though. We know that.
No, that was headed toward Terry's chest, I believe.
There's Langer.
Yeah. That was taking direct aim at Terry. Langer sits on the left side.
Yes.
He's alive. Foul. 1-2.
That baseball was flying up there quickly.
The dribbler, foul. Still a 1-2. Escobar comes in with a 5-game hitting streak. 39 multi-hit games, puts him 7th in the American League. Second in the American League in average to Jose Altuve. They're still raking at .357. This is popped up, foul. Deep into the seats.
See the Ken Griffey Jr. number retirement patch on the jersey. Seattle was great, by the way, earlier today during their batting practice.
Out toward left center, Heredia gives way to Martin, 1 down.
They were all wearing the number 24 jersey with their hat backwards during batting practice today for Seattle.
We're hoping to have Junior visit us in the booth at some point tonight. Cole takes a strike. Cole jumped on the first pitch and shot and doubled into the alley in left center. 18th of the year.
That was a perfect swing going to left center field.
Out towards center. Martin froze on the swing, has to come in, and that ball hit the ground. So it's the second hit of the night for Cole. Just that little freeze allowed that ball to get down on the ground.
And you know, Cole Calhoun deserves that. He's hit some baseballs right on the nose at fielders for quite some time. This one able to fall in for him. Especially after that shot he had last. He just went back 1/2 a step, and that cost him a chance to slide in and make that play. Gets in front of him. One good thing he did was keep that baseball from getting away from him, prevent Cole from getting his second double.
First multi-hit game for Cole since July 26th at Kansas City. Trout takes a strike. Mike homering in the first, a 3-run shot for the second straight night. Becoming the second Angel ever to have a home run that counted for 3 or more runs back-to-back first innings. Don Baylor did it in September of 1982. John did it with no outs on both occasions. The last big leaguer to do that was Alan Trammell in 1990.
I was thinking maybe 1984 for Detroit. How many games they won, how many runs they scored. Trout leads the majors with 38 first-inning home runs over the last 4 years. No other player even has more than 30. Well, they always say a lot of times that pitchers trying to settle in the first. Well, Trout never allows pitchers to settle in the first inning without doing some damage. Showed it even last night in our opening what he has done over the last few opening days against King Felix in 2014, 2015. Home run to start the season for him. And with that swing there, we've seen some good ones the last couple of nights. Last night with 2 on, no outs, Mike Trout against King Felix out of the ballpark, 3-run home run. Tonight, 2 on, no out, and it's worthy of a Carl's Cam replay. Back-to-back nights, 2 on, no out, all 3 score on that swing on back-to-back home runs by Trout all nights consecutive.
That gets away from Chris Iannetta. Should goes a pass ball. Cole will turn and stay at second.
High fastball. It looked like Chris Iannetta took his eye off the baseball there. He's kind of looking towards where Cole was. Now Mike Trout has Cole Calhoun in scoring position. And as usual, seeing a number of pitches for Trout. 4.39 pitches per plate appearance this season, 3rd best in the majors.
By the way, that home run measured at 444 feet. Trout at the first. 425 yesterday.
Trout now tied with Albert Pujols for the team lead as far as home runs, both with 21. Albert with 84 RBI, Trout with 73. It's certainly no coincidence the fact that with Trout with back-to-back nights of a 3-run home run, how important it is for Cole Calhoun getting on base in front of him. Escobar has been getting on base a ton, but Cole had been in a little bit of a slump for a while. Back-to-back nights getting on base in the first inning and scoring both nights.
And that is driven out to center field. Martin is racing back, not going to get there. One hops the fence. Cole will score. Trout stumbling, ends up heading toward third, and he is in there with a triple. Halfway to the cycle. 4-1 Angels.
He's been doing some running today. The first at bat obviously did not do a whole lot of running, but he had to make a great defensive play. This time a fastball right down the heart of the plate, and Trout was all over that baseball once again. Martin trying to go back, catch up to it, and it kicks away from him, and Trout sensing an opportunity to get a triple, sees that baseball over the head and bounces away from Martin, cutting that angle, sliding in for a triple, his 3rd of the season, 4th RBI of the game for Trout.
Quick visit to the mound. Man in third. Infield back. 4-1 Halos. 1 out. We're in the 3rd, and Albert up. Pulls the fly ball to left field. His first at bat. Triple for Trout, his 3rd. 2nd RBI of the night. He has 72 on the season now as the infield comes in. That is lined to right field. Gutierrez racing back, and he will make the catch on the track. There goes a sac fly as Trout comes in to score. And it is 5-1 Angels. Albert picks up his 85th RBI.
And that's an impressive swing by Albert Pujols, driving the ball that far the other way. We talked about how he's been using the field, the whole field of late. What a swing that was. Gutierrez had to make a nice play just to run that one down on the warning track. He's letting the baseball travel using that lower half of his body. You can see what he's trying to do. He's trying to drive the ball that way. Trout scores his second run of the game. Cole Calhoun has scored 2. Albert picks up the RBI. Tyler Skaggs, a happy man there with 2 more runs scored for him.
2 balls, no strikes. Simmons 1 for 1 with a base hit. Three balls, no strikes. You can see the reason why Mariners fans are excited about the arm of Taijuan Walker. But the inconsistency at times has plagued him. And mention the struggles he's had against right-handed batters this year. They'd hope to have what they call the big 3 come up. Andy Holtzman, Taijuan Walker, and James Paxton. Paxton's had to deal with injuries the last couple of years. Walker's had a couple of nagging injuries and some inconsistency. Holtzman didn't even reach the big leagues yet.
I think what it comes down to for Scott Service, what he would love to see out of Taijuan Walker is more consistency with his secondary pitches. The fastball is very firm, but if you're not able to throw your secondary pitches consistently for strikes, especially when you're behind in counts, you're going to run into some problems.
O'Malley retires Choi, and the inning is in the books, but the Angels add 2 more. We'll head to the bottom of the 3rd. It's a 5-1 game.
This date, back in 1993, the late great Hall of Famer Tony Gwynn singles for his 2000th career hit, and on this exact same date, 1999, Gwynn singles once again for his 3000th career hit. One of the greatest swings you'll ever have seen in the game of baseball, the late great Hall of Famer Tony Gwynn. And speaking of great swings, there's Mike Trout, who's had a couple really good swings already. Home run, triple, 4 RBI.
Skaggs back to work, facing the top of the order. Heredia, Gutierrez, and Cano. Tyler gave up a run in the first on back-to-back doubles. Heredia drives one out to deep left field. They'll get one of those runs back. It is 5-2. Heredia launching his first major league home run.
Standing ovation here from the crowd here at Safeco. First career home run. Talk about making an adjustment on a fastball in. He brings his hands inside the baseball on a 93-mile-an-hour fastball. See how he brings his hands in and drives that one out a long way to left field.
Gutierrez went for one with a ground rule double in his first plate appearance.
Well, that pitch got a lot of the strike zone.
Three balls, one strike. This is line to right field. A good down for a hit.
It's two real good swings in this game for Gutierrez so far against Tyler Skaggs. Double and a single.
Here's Cano. Double down the right field line on a breaking ball in his first at bat. Double for Robinson, his 26th of the year. '51 extra base hits for Cano this year. Yet to get it going since the All-Star break. One hit last night. One hit already tonight.
Cano in a very good hitter's count now from Tyler Skaggs. Has rolled into 12 double plays. Tyler can get that ground ball.
Upper reaches of the strike zone. Cano doesn't like it. Looked like it caught the zone. It's 3-1.
Yeah, if you look at the Fox tracks, no question to strike. First pitch of this at bat against Robinson Cano got the lower part of the strike zone.
Heredia leading off this inning with a home run. Gutierrez at first base had a single to right. Now 3-1 count on Cano. Grounds this one towards second. Giavatello will feed Simmons for one. It's going to turn into a 4-6-3 double play, two down.
It's amazing that a borderline pitch being called a strike sets up that ground ball double play. Instead of potentially being first and second, no outs, there's no one on and two outs. And flip over to Simmons, plenty of time to complete this 4-6-3 double play.
Nelson Cruz struck out looking in the first. Two strikeouts for Skaggs. 5 hits allowed. Chopper to the left side. It's Escobar. Mariners get one. We'll head to the fourth. Angels on top 5-2. Tyler Skaggs, not as sharp as we've seen him in his first two starts, but getting the job done. He's limited the damage. Gave up the back-to-back doubles in the first, the home run to Heredia last inning. See what the Angels could do here in the fourth against Taijuan Walker. Walker at 55 pitches, 35 for strikes, allowed 5 hits himself. It's the bottom third of the order. Marte, Perez, and Giavotella. The first one's outside. Jeffrey grounded out in his first at-bat. Down the line, fair. Off that short wall, and Marte will easily get to second with a leadoff double.
That's a pretty good indication why Victor, the right-handed batters, have done pretty well against Walker this year. Able to track that curveball. Got a lot of the zone, slowed down his delivery. Even though he was out, slightly open up his front hips, able to keep his hands back. And lines it right down the line for his 8th double.
Carlos showing bunt, sacrifices Marte over to third. Cano covering. One down.
Nice bunt again by Carlos Perez. It's his 8th sacrifice bunt this season. And high fives as he gets back into that dugout.
Giavotella grounded out to Lee in his first at-bat. Takes downstairs. Pennington got the start at second base the last couple of nights. Johnny back in there tonight against Taijuan Walker. 2-0. Tails to face another one of those young Mariner arms, James Paxton, tomorrow. And that start on getaway day. It's the kickoff of a 10-game trip for the Angels. 3 here, 2 in Chicago against the Cubs on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then 4 against Cleveland next weekend. We'll return home to take on the Mariners for 4 and the Yankees for 3. Mariners getting action going to their bullpen now with Walker at 62 pitches. This is back up the middle. It's a base hit. 6-2 as Giavotella picks up the RBI single.
Kind of jammed them a little bit, but able to get that one right back up the middle on an off-speed pitch. Giavotella picks up his 30th RBI. Changeup. Just by Walker on the mound. Now is one of those opportunities where you might see Giavotella on the move, potentially a hit and run.
Six runs allowed by Walker, tying him for the most he's given up this year. Gave up 6 against Texas in Arlington. It was on June the 3rd. First big league start for the big man since July 5th. Activated off the DL today. This is looped out toward left center field. Heredia moving in will make the nice backhanded play. Giavotella went to second base for some reason, ends up stumbling, and it turns into a double play. Bad base running. Finishing off this inning for the Angels. The Halos do get a run. It's 6-2. On Fox Sports West is brought to you by Subaru. We believe in making the world a better place. That's why we donate to causes we care about. And by El Pollo Loco. Try the new overstuffed quesadillas today. Bottom of the 4th inning, Angels up by the score of 6-2. On the verge of chasing Taijuan Walker from this game. We'll see what Tyler Skanks can do. He's trying to throw up a 0 for the first time tonight after the Angels have scored. Mariners have answered in the 1st and the 3rd with solo runs, but it's an answer nonetheless. As Dae-Ho Lee takes a strike. Lee a ground down to short in his first at bat. Toward the middle. Anderson calls off Giavotella and bobbles it.
Just took his eye off the baseball there, Simmons. The odd thing is why Johnny Giavotella was over on that side of the infield. He was not playing, he was playing towards the middle, but certainly not on the shortstop side of the base.
Yeah, even if Johnny comes up with that, He has no chance of getting Lee at first.
That's an incredibly long throw.
Seager takes a breaking ball for a strike. Base hit with 2 strikes on him in the first at bat. He shoots this one out to left. Second hit against a left-hander tonight. So back-to-back base runners to start this bottom of the 4th.
Like you mentioned, Victor, they've responded every time the Angels have scored Seattle, and right away back in business here. Chris Iannetta hit a baseball very far. The Trout ran down in left center field. His first and only at bat.
Skaggs had allowed a total of 7 hits in his first 2 starts back off the deal. He's given up 6 so far. And we'll face Iannetta. Chris at 212, 7 home runs and 21 runs batted in. Takes a strike.
And Tyler Already's been helped out by a ground ball double play. He's a candidate right now for Chris Iannetta if he gets a ground ball and an infielder to get another double play.
Two and one. Trout shading Iannetta toward the alley in right center field. That's where Mike was playing. Iannetta drove one to the warning track at left center. Trout able to track it down. Good off speed. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Error by Simmons. Base hit by Seager, putting 2 base runners on board. Andrelton committing his 9th error of the season. Full count. Three-two. It's cut on and missed. Down goes Iannetta, 1 down.
94-mile-an-hour fastball, arm side fastball outside part of the plate, a swing and miss. Head is still downward action on the fastball to hit that spot to get a big strikeout first out of the inning for Tyler Skaggs. 58 pitches thrown, 37 in the strike zone for Skaggs. Still pretty solid percentage. Consider where he has been and where he's come from. Almost out for 2 full seasons. Been very good as far as throwing a lot of strikes in his first 3 starts.
Martino for 1 with a fly out. His first at bat. A lot of comfortable swings against Tyler Skaggs tonight.
He's had some pretty good swings in this game, Martino, on high fastballs. So you know that's the pitch he's going to try to drive. He's fouled him back both times, straight back.
Joe's bunt, tried to push one up the third base side. Fouls it instead, 1-2. making sure his fellow Cuban friend is awake over at third base, and Yunel Escobar. Escobar talking with Manny Acta about that bunt now. Got him with a big breaking ball. Down goes Martin, 2 down.
Still got to keep that focus after back-to-back strikeouts. A very good breaking ball from Tyler Skaggs. Shoulders level. Snap. On a curveball at 78 miles an hour, you get a swing and miss.
O'Malley lifts one out to left field. Joy moving back on it. On the track, has a beat, puts it away. And the Mariners will strand 2. 4 in the books. Halos leading at 6-2. Features a star-studded doubleheader starting with Andrew McCutchen and the Pirates taking on the Dodgers. Then Mike Trout and the Angels face the American League Central leading Cleveland Indians in a game you can only see on FS1. The action begins at 12:30 p.m. Pacific on FS1 or watch it live on Fox Sports Go. Taijuan Walker is done after 4 innings in his first start off the disabled list, and he gives way to the right-hander Cody Martin. Martin pitching in his 5th game for Seattle. 1-2 mark, a 3.68 ERA, just 7 1/3 innings. It's our in and out, who's in, who's out. Martin picked up off waivers from the Oakland Athletics last October. Gets the opportunity here to face the Angels. And the Halos will be sending up 2, 3, and 4 in Calhoun, Trout, and Pujols.
Yeah, Martin not overpowering fastballs, 88 to 92 range, slider, curveball, changeup. Those a lot of all-speed pitches between curveball and slider. About 53% of his pitches are going to be a curve or slider.
Pitched in 4 games for Oakland last year, at AAA this year, AAA Tacoma, 9-6, 3.95 ERA in 22 games, 17 which are starts. So he can give Scott Service a couple of innings. First one to Cole, and this driven out toward left center field. Heredia racing back on a track, will put it away for the first down. Cole's had 3 very good swings, 2 hits and a long fly out. It's the first down of the 5th.
And his 2-hit game was his first multi-hit game since Tyler Skaggs' debut back in Kansas City for Cole Calhoun. Just missed his 3rd hit of the game.
Found a 3-run blast in the first. A triple his last at bat. 4 RBIs. 74 on the season. And we'll take a fastball downstairs for ball 1.
Pretty good matchup, you would think, because of all the off-speed pitches that Martin will throw. Trout batting average .316 versus off-speed, .336 versus breaking balls.
Two balls and a strike. I think it was a pretty good pitch. Doesn't get called. Another borderline. And it's 3 balls and a strike. That is lifted out toward right. Gutierrez on underneath it. 2 down.
All those pitches on the lower part of the strike zone against Trout, just missed that one. He quickly looked up on the screen just to see he had a pitch to drive. That's his zone. Got underneath it, flew out the right.
Albert 0 for 1 with a fly ball to left and a sac fly in the 3rd inning. Picked up his 85th run batted in. He'll take a strike. Martin, just 26 years of age, the native of Dos Palos, California, just off the 5 freeway north of Fresno. And that's driven out toward right center field. Gutierrez racing back on the track will put it away for the 3rd out. A couple of loud outs in this inning, but Martin with a 1-2-3 fifth. Angels still lead at 6-2. By authority of the Los Angeles Angels, it may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Angels Baseball LP. Tyler Skaggs here in the bottom of the 5th, facing the top of the order, Heredia, Gutierrez, and Cano. 63 pitches for Tyler, 41 have been strikes. Gave up the home run to Heredia last at bat. His first big league home run. He'll take ball 1 outside. Guillermo 1 for 2 with a ground down in that blast to left. Three and 0.
Tyler has faced 19 batters so far in this game. This 9 first pitch strikes, a little bit different than what we saw his first 2 starts of the season.
And there's a 4-pitch walk to start the bottom of the 5th. And get your red on for Family Sunday, presented by Yakult Probiotic Drink on August 21st as the Angels take on the Yankees. Visit the Gate 5 courtyard for fun activities. And after the game, kids in attendance get to run the bases. Angels.com/promotions for more info. Already 0 for 1 in the stolen base category at the major league level. 3 bags between AA and AAA this year in 84 games. Franklin Gutierrez has hit the ball well both times up. Quick throw to first. Already is back.
A pretty good pitch once again for Skaggs. Not getting the call. Pretty tight zone for James Hoy behind the plate tonight.
Gutierrez, ground rule double and a single, so he's 2 for 2.
Wow, again, another good pitch. It's in right in the middle of the plate. Lower part of the strike zone. Checking out our Fox tracks, that's right there, middle of the plate at the knees.
Like Perez sensing the frustration from Tyler, deciding to go out. Simmons as well coming in. Certainly makes hitters feel a lot more comfortable at the plate.
Yeah, it forces you as a pitcher to bring the pitch up in the middle part of the plate, middle part of the zone, both inside and outside.
And that is driven out to left field. It's a 2-run blast for Gutierrez. It is 6-4 Angels. Second home run allowed by Skaggs, and Skaggs had a little bit of a look into James Hoy. And you can understand the frustration from him.
Well, that's right to our point. You're forced to throw the ball middle and upper part of the strike zone. After you make 2 perfect pitches on the lower part of the strike zone to not get called, you're forced up, and then he hits it out. That's exactly where you're forced up in the strike zone.
And Gutierrez now triple shy of the cycle. 7 hits allowed, bases clear, nobody out. We're in the bottom of the 5th. Angels still up 6-4. Cano hits one out the left. Playable for Choi. 1 down. Cano with that fly out now, 1 for 3 on the night, and a double back in the first. There's Cruz, 0 for 2. Went down looking his first time up, grounded out. His last at bat. He lifts one out towards center, more towards right center. Trout calling off Calhoun. I like that too. 1 pitch outs. Go 1. Leo for 2. Ground out. Reached on the error his last time up. That was Simmons. Angels with 6 runs, 7 hits, 1 error. They've stranded 1. The Mariners with 4 runs, 7 hits. Have left 4 on base so far. One and 2. Life on the fastball's been great.
He's hit spots pretty well. Just hasn't gotten any of those borderline pitches, and he's been forced in the middle.
Just missed. 2 balls, 2 strikes. I mean, you can obviously nitpick anything in a baseball game. Maybe the command of the breaking ball, not where he'd like it to be, or the sharpness that we saw earlier. Aside from that, it's been pretty solid. This was down.
I think when it comes down to anytime you're battling back from a injury that Tyler had and the length of time away from the major league level, there'll be peaks and valleys for anybody. And he's had 2 outstanding starts against 2 very good offenses in Kansas City and then Boston, and then here you're playing against Seattle team with a lot of power. And if he's made a mistake tonight, twice now he's given up home runs on mistakes.
Kyle Seager on deck. Another 3-2 to lead. Rolled foul. 79 pitches now for Tyler. 48 strikes. Has 4 punch outs on the night. 1 walk.
.80 pitches thrown for Tyler at 18 in the first. 3 consecutive innings of 15 pitches thrown, and then in this 5th inning, 17 of them.
Good battle here between Lee and Skaggs, and Lee works the walk. So it'll bring up Seager, who's been on board twice with a couple of singles, and Charles Nagy's going to pay his first visit of the night.
Tyler with 2 walks in this inning, and then a game 3 on the entire season. Charles Nagy with a quick visit to Tyler.
And Seager gets in the walk. Trout moving back. He's at the wall, and it's going to stay in the yard for the 3rd out. Seager gave it a ride. Almost the 3rd home run hit by Seattle. Instead, it's the 3rd out. 6-4 Halos as we head to the 6th.
coverage of baseball. Some tight games in some big moments here. Cleveland finally beats the Yankees 5-2 today. San Francisco comes back and beats Washington. Had been struggling, and the Tigers continue to win. Beat the New York Mets 6-5. Now we have a game break from Minute Maid Park in Houston. The Astros wearing those old throwbacks. Lucroy, not once but twice in this game. Big flies as Texas beats the Houston Astros 3-2 down there in Houston.
Andrelton Simmons takes a strike. I think it was a turn back the clock to 1986. Mike Scott threw out the ceremonial first pitch in that game.
Did it have some sink action?
Oh, you know it did. Almost as if somebody had gone to the hardware store and showed him how to use some sandpaper. But that's just all alleged.
Altuve got thrown out in that game today, too.
Get out of here.
Yes. Some tension there in Houston.
Yeah, those two teams now over the last couple of years have kind of built up a decent little rivalry. They've played for the Silver Boot for a while, and obviously that was prior to the Astros moved to the American League, and more specifically to the American League West. It's just kind of ratcheted up a little bit over the last couple of years. Cody Martin's retired 4 batters, all 4 batters that he's faced. He's coming into the game for Taijuan Walker. G-Man is 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts.
Four home runs, 10 RBI. Season for G-Man Choi.
Didn't mean to swing at it. Bounces it back to Martin. 2 down.
Let's look for Marte to be very aggressive on this first pitch, see if he can do some damage.
Jeffrey 1 for 2 with a ground down and a double. Shot a double down the left field line. Eighth of the year for Marte. Pops it up. Daeho Lee, first baseman, calling for it. So 6 up, 6 down for Martin. We'll head to the bottom of the 6th inning. Would like to have Skaggs chill out for a little bit more, but he'll head back out there with a 6-4 lead. Game set tomorrow afternoon. Matt Shoemaker on the mound for the Angels, going up against the left-hander James Paxton.
Paxton with that power fastball, 2-2 in his career against the Angels. With a 2.65 ERA, Shoemaker 3-3 in his career versus Seattle.
Chris Seidet to lead things off. He'll be followed by Martin and O'Malley. Bottom third of the order for Seattle here in the bottom of the sixth. And Chris shoots one down the left field line. This one's hooking and it goes foul.
And Seattle being very aggressive early in counts.
Chris 0 for 2 tonight. 3 for 23 since the All-Star break. This is line to left, a base hit. The 8th hit allowed by Skaggs. Brings up Martin. We keep talking about the aggressive nature of the Seattle Mariners on first pitches. 379 team batting average on the first pitch this year, second best average in the big leagues. The Orioles are hitting 387, so they lead the way. They have 30 first pitch home runs, fourth most in baseball. Escobar in on the grass with Martin at the plate. And he lifts one down the left field line. Long run for Choi, slicing away from him and out of play. Seems like Martin was just up.
They've had some good swings in this series so far overall, Seattle.
So he can pretty much throw away that whole logic of work the count, work walks. Pretty much throughout Major League Baseball. Very few teams do that anymore. And I think the old adage is that there's a pretty good chance the pitcher wants to get ahead of you. That may be the first pitch that you get. Go ahead and attack it if it's in your wheelhouse.
And also the old adage was, in your work counts, you get to a bullpen. Well, a lot of times you don't want to get to a team's bullpen anymore. Not when you're throwing 97, 98.
Every one of them. 1-2. Missed inside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Martin lines one out toward left center field. It's a base hit. Choi gets it back into the infield. The first 2 have reached for Seattle.
And each time that Martin has seen a pitch upstairs, he's hit or swung at it very, very well. Certainly a bunt scenario now for O'Malley coming to the plate. Mike Morin warming up in the bullpen.
Corner infielders playing in, looking for the sacrifice. O'Malley doesn't show bunt, fouls it off. Gave it a run in his last at bat. Drove Choi to the warning track and left. O'Malley's 0 for 2. Mentioned last night briefly with the Angels. 2014.
90 pitches, 56 of them strikes for Tyler. Not as consistent in the strike zone tonight as we've seen the first 2 starts of the season for Tyler.
O'Malley chops this one to the left side. Escobar will go to first. Get the out. The base runners advance 90. Iannetta over to third. And Martin to second. The tying run now in scoring position.
It worked as if it was a bunt there for O'Malley. Slow roller allows both base runners to advance.
Heredia, the left fielder, 1 for 2 with a ground down, a home run, and a walk in his last plate appearance. It's a breaking ball low. Looks like he's tracking Skaggs fairly well. Tyler, 93 pitches, 58 have been strikes. He's got runners at second and third with 1 out.
Looks like he's looking for the inner half of the plate, whether it's a fastball or a breaking ball. This is a time where you throw that arm side fastball, that two-seamer down and away. You can back it up with a changeup down and away. He's looking to turn on everything right now.
Two-one. Upstairs, 3-1. Gutierrez on deck. And there's a walk. So they're loaded up now for Franklin. That's going to be it for Tyler Skaggs with Mike Moore ready to go. Gutierrez might get called back.
It's a tough decision now for Scott Service for a guy that's had an amazing game.
Skaggs is done. He'll depart with the bases loaded and a 6-4 lead. We're in the 6th. On in the 6th inning, he departs with the bases loaded. 97 pitches, 4 strikeouts, 3 walks. He'll leave with Iannetta at third, Martin at second, and Heredia at first as Mike Moore takes over on the mound. Moore pitching in his 38th big league game, 2-2 mark at a 5.20 ERA. And looks like Gutierrez is going to stay in the game and face the right-hander.
And you usually see a platoon between him and Seth Smith, but when you have a game like this, double, single, home run already in your first 3 at-bats, the manager, Scott Service, going to give you the opportunity to have faith in you. You're going to have a good swing. Mike Moore is going to try to get him to hit ground ball and an infielder.
Mike in his last outing against Oakland gave up 2 runs on 4 hits in his 1 inning of relief. Defensively, the Angels, of course, looking for the ground ball double play to get out of this. First pitch, breaking ball low. Gutierrez, a ground rule double to center, a single to right center, a home run to left, in that order. The home run is 11th of the season. It's a 2-run shot. He's got 28 RBIs on the year. Cano on deck. Two balls, no strikes. Back-to-back sliders for Mike. Blocked by Carlos.
He got his body over that very well, and another slider, this time in the dirt. Squares his shoulders up, keeps it in front.
Gutierrez 1 for 1 in his career against Moore. He's swinging and he pops it up. Simmons calling for it. Infield fly is called. 2 down.
Wow, you talk about a little bonus out of that one. Swinging 3-0, bases loaded, pops it up. Infield fly, no advancement of the runners. What a break there by Mike Moore and the Angels. Had a little bit of late action on the fastball. Started middle away, ran up and in, and he pops it up. Still work to be done with a very, very good hitter up here in Robinson Cano, though.
Cano 2 for 7 in his career against Moore. No extra base hits and an RBI. He's 1 for 3 tonight with a double. That was in his first inning at bat. Fastball away. There's a strike.
That slider quite a bit so far coming in the game for Mike Moore.
Time call. Moore this year has been more effective against left-handers than he has right-handers. Lefty's hitting .213 against him compared to .261. This is a pretty good left-handed batter at the plate. 1-1. Oh, a good breaking pitch down and in. 1-2.
Slider down and in. The trust of Carlos Perez to keep that baseball in front of him.
One, two, pulled foul. Similar pitch. Chris Iannetta standing at third. Martinez second and Guillermo Heredia at first. On board via the single, and walk respectively. All belonging to Tyler Skaggs. 2 outs, 6-4 Angels in the bottom of the 6th.
Tried that changeup.
I don't know about you, that was not a fully committed changeup.
No. A little harder than his normal changeup. I thought with Carlos setting up outside, he might have gone with his fastball instead. This seems to be what we're seeing so far in these two batters, that they're almost sitting on changeups.
Two. And he got him to reach for the off speed. It's popped up to shallow right. Cole coming in. Puts it away for the 3rd out, and the Mariners leave them loaded. We hit the 7th. The Angels up 6-4. Crowd with multi-hit games, and actually Cole has swung the bat well, almost got a 3rd hit tonight as he drove one to the warning track. Trout with a triple and a home run. It's back-to-back games in which he has hit a 3-run home run in the 1st inning. Gave the Angels a 3-0 lead. Halos with 2 in the 3rd, 1 in the 4th to make it 6. Seattle with 1 in the 1st, 1 in the 3rd, 2 in the 5th, and they left him stranded. Bases loaded in the 6th inning. That's where we stand right now as the Angels send up Perez, Giavotella, and Escobar. Facing Cody Martin. He's faced 6 batters. He's retired all 6 and actually has calmed things down for Seattle. His time on Walker lasted just 4 innings tonight. Carlos 0 for 1. A fly out and a sacrifice bunt.
Martin's done a real nice job as far as hitting his spots, keeping the ball in the lower part of the strike zone. Throwing a lot of strikes, keeping the hitters off balance after dealing with Walker with his mid-90s fastball.
It's fouled back, and the count remains at 0-2. And Martin, a 7th round pick by Atlanta, 2011, out of Gonzaga. A's bought him from the Braves July of last year. A's put him on waivers in October, and Seattle picked him up.
See Chris Iannetta tapping the ground, wanted that breaking ball in the dirt from Martin, got it. Carlos Perez did not chase. Another slider right here. Shook off to a fastball away.
Sellout tonight, over 45,000 here at Safeco. Standing room only tickets. Chopper back toward the middle. Cano bobbles it. Much easier play for O'Malley. Now it goes an infield base hit.
This baseball just barely getting by Martin to try to get on the backhand. And then Robinson Cano tried to set himself up to throw the first base. And able to keep that baseball in the glove. Easier play, like you mentioned. O'Malley's going towards the base. That would have been a long throw for Robinson Cano.
Trying to go on Manny Trio on us.
That was a cannon for an arm for Manny Trio.
There's Giavotella, first base runner for the Angels against Cody Martin. Johnny 1 for 2. Base hit his last time.
I wonder if Mike Scioscia doesn't put a hit and run on now with Giavotella at the plate. Carlos Perez on the move.
Hit run is on, and this one's fouled off. A little quick with that break the ball. A little different feel for him from the stretch, of course. It's always the toughest part for a guy, especially a swing guy, that you come into a game and all of a sudden you're starting a fresh inning. You retire the first 6. You're feeling pretty good about yourself. You think you've gotten the first out, and all of a sudden now you got to work from the stretch.
And you don't have overpowering stuff, so your opponents can put hit and run situations on against you because you can put the ball in play.
It's like a non-committed pitch out there.
He just guided that pitch there. I think it was more of a changeup.
I'm trying to figure out if it was kind of like a modified pitch out, just in case to see if someone's running.
I think they were thinking in terms of a hit and run. Now it's certainly a very good count for a hit and run with a 2-1 count.
And Johnny flips one down the right field line, foul.
And my Hyundai key for this game is kick it out. We saw that certainly with Trout back in the first inning. Johnny Giavotella looking to drive the ball himself, has had a couple pitches to put on that hit and run perfectly and shoot that ball to right field, just fouled twice with Carlos Perez on the move.
Fouled off.
Very important to add on here against Seattle, the way they've been swinging the bats and always seem to have some guys on base.
Another 2-2. Johnny grounds this one toward the hole. O'Malley will only go to second. We'll get Carlos for the out. Givatello reaches on the fielder's choice.
Well, a very similar scenario with Johnny at first and Escobar at the plate. Let's see Mike Sosa try it again to see if he can get someone in motion on a hit and run.
There's Escobar, 0 for 2. 2 fly ball outs and a walk.
Ron Renick putting the signs on. Anticipating a fastball count here. 1-0. See if Givatello's on the move.
Two balls, no strikes.
Storing up in the bullpen now for Seattle.
One-time closer with the Washington Nationals. 2-0. And that is driven out towards center field. Leonis Martin moving back on it is there. 2 down. Givatello back to first.
Cole's had 3 really good swings tonight, a double and a single. Fly out to the wall in left field.
That was off of Martin. That was the first batter that the right-hander faced in the 5th inning.
Cole, you can see by that smile, would love that pitch back. Inner part of the plate, lower part of the strike zone. A lot of room down that left field corner for Cole Calhoun.
Shift on with Cole at the plate. Oh, 2.
Well, all 3 outfielders kind of bunched. The middle part of the field, there's room down that left field line, room down the right field line for Cole.
No balls, 2 strikes with 2 outs. Givatello at first. Trout on deck. If Cole reaches here, imagine that Storen comes in. Halos up 6-4 in the 7th. Broken bat pop up on the infield. O'Malley has to come in. It falls on the grass, and that'll go as an infield base hit. That's all you can do is smile.
Yeah, you got to. Boy,
with the shift on, he beat the shift.
Oh, you talk about Phil Mickelson would just love this swing here from Cole Calhoun. Not only does he flip it over the pitcher, but he checks it up perfectly. It's the kind of shot you need at a U.S. Open. Those quick greens, look how he checked it up. It's an excellent lob wedge from Cole Calhoun, and a smile, finally getting a break.
Scott Service is coming out. Cole with a 3-hit game. Cody Martin is done. He'll depart with a couple of base runners. Drew Storen on in relief with the Angels up 6-4.
With 2 outs, 2 on, Mike Trout coming to plate. Earlier tonight, it's a top-tier plays of the game brought to you by Arco with 2 on, no out, first inning, back-to-back games, doing so, 3-run home run. But then his second A-bat triples over Leonis Martin's head, drives in another 4 RBI. Trout picking up a triple in this game, giving him 4 RBI. He's got 3 triples on the season, 21 home runs from Mike Trout.
Drew Storen pitching in his 43rd game, 1-3 record, a 6.51 ERA. It's his 5th game since being acquired from the Toronto Blue Jays in exchange for Joaquin Benoit. Second time he's been traded this year. The Nationals moved him to Toronto in exchange for Ben Revere back in January. First round pick to Stanford by the Nationals in 2009. He comes in to face Trout. But Giavatello at second and Calhoun at first. First pitch upstairs.
Storen's fastball is 90-94. Slider, changeup.
John has faced Storen. He's 1 for 2. Two balls, no strikes. Storen 43 saves for the Nationals in 2011. 29 saves in 2015. Two ball. Trout pulls it foul.
Tried to stay back in that fastball in the inner half of the plate. Just pulled it foul though.
His whip this year jumped up to almost 1.6. Walks and hits by innings pitched. Inetta outside. Slider misses. It's 3-1. Drew for 48 hits allowed in 37 and a third innings. 11 walks.
Albert on deck. You wonder if we'll throw him a 3-1 slider here. Try to get Trout to chase.
Gets a slider and a delayed call.
Certainly a zone that has not been called throughout this game. It was a strike. Slider down and away. And our Fox Tracks catches that lower part of the strike zone.
With a full count of 2 outs, the base runners will get a head start. Giovatello from second and Calhoun from first. Time call. Runners go. 3-2 upstairs, and he walked him. So they'll load it up for Albert. A changeup.
3-2 changeup.
Launched it. Albert will bound with the bases loaded. Albert has one official at bat against Story. 0 for 1. But he's also picked up 3 walks. 0 for 2 tonight. Does have a sacrifice fly. Picked up his 85th RBI back in the third.
Trout with that walk, his 75th walk. Neither in the American League in that category.
Breaking ball for a strike.
Well, you really have to stay back as a hitter. That slight hesitation in Storen's delivery. It looked as if Albert was drifting forward. You have to stay back, maintain that center balance.
Foul back. No balls, 2 strikes. See Ryan Etta set up. And that's lifted out toward right. Gutierrez moving over. He's underneath it. Makes the catch of the Angels. Leave them loaded just like the Mariners did in the bottom of the 6th. Stretch time here in Seattle. Halos leading at 6-4.
break. This time from Colorado, Ichiro. 2 hits away from 3,000. Infield base hit, hit number 2999 for Ichiro. Just 1 hit away. Thinks he has it up the middle, but a play by the pitcher. Bobbles at first, but then throws him out at first base. He just misses 3,000th career hit, which would have been another infield hit for Ichiro.
You are looking at the newest Angel, Jose Valdez, called up today after Tim Lincecum was designated for assignment, making his Angels debut. We have said that quite a bit this year. Valdez, 26-year-old native of the Dominican Republic, had his contract purchased from the Tigers back in June. He had been pitching at AAA. Good numbers at AAA, Gooby. I mean, he's got a little taste of big league life with the Tigers. But at AAA this year with the Angels, 22 games, 0-1, a .70 ERA with 5 saves.
Yeah, he's got a power fastball, 94 to 98 range, slider, changeup.
Facing Nelson Cruz, and the first one is a slider for a strike. Cruz, Lee, and Seager due up for Seattle here at the bottom of the 7th. Angels made 2 defensive changes. We'll tell you about that after the pitch. Looked like he went around. He did. It's 0-2. Shane Robinson takes over in left field. And that moves Ji-Man Choi from left to first. Jeffrey Marte no longer in the game. Oh-2. Fastball misses low. 98. Adam Lind has come out to the on-deck circle. Bat in place of Dae-Ho Lee. This one's out toward right. Not very deep. Pull toward the line will make the catch for the first out. Follow Angels Baseball live with MLB.com at Bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with game day, live game video highlights, StatCast news, and more. Download MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone or tablet. So Adam Lind pinch hitting here for Lee. Push fastball away. Lind hitting .234, 16 home runs, 45 runs batted in. He had a 3-for-4 game last night with an RBI and a run scored. Valdez last year got into 7 games with the Tigers. 0-1, 9 innings, 10 hits. Falls behind here at 3-0. So another lefty up, and Kyle Seager on deck. Valdez strictly a reliever throughout his professional career. Lind works the 4-pitch walk. So it'll bring up the tying run in Seager.
Seager has swung the bat very, very well tonight.
Two for 3. Couple of singles and a long fly ball out to the track in right center field. So that's 5 out of the zone, and Carlos will go have a conversation.
Everybody clap your hands.
Tyler Skaggs got the start for the Angels tonight, went 5 1/3, gave up 4 runs, all earned on 9 hits. 4 strikeouts and 3 walks. Mike Moore got out of a bases loaded situation in the 6th to keep this a 2-run lead for the Angels. Breaking ball low.
Certainly don't want to put Seattle in those comfortable fastball counts.
Seager swinging 3-0, fouls it off. 3-1. This in the game in Arizona, the only two games still being played. Milwaukee leading the Diamondbacks 15-4 in the ninth at Chase Field. Here at 6-4 Angels in the bottom of the seventh. And there's ball 4. So after retiring Nelson Cruz to start the inning, Valdez has issued back-to-back walks. It looks like Seth Smith has grabbed a bat. He's going to pinch it for Chris Iannetta.
Charles Nagy's going to join the conversation now on the mound. "13 pitches for Valdez, 9 of them out of the strike zone."
Long conversation. Long past the 30-second clock. Seth Smith last night 2 for 3. Had a run scored. 265 on the season. 10 doubles, 11 home runs, 43 RBIs. 4 for 21 as a pinch hitter with 1 run batted in. Lynn, the base runner at second. Seager at first.
Pretty close to that lower part of the strike zone once again, but James Hoy has not called that pitch throughout.
Some scrambling going on in the Angels pen now. That's 10 out of the zone for Valdez. 1-0 pitch, and this is foul back. Deolis Guerra strikes the loosen. Guerra pitched last night. As a matter of fact, one inning and 2/3, so a total of 20 pitches. Check swing. Didn't go. 2-1. Two on the way. 3-1. Valdez just can't find the strike zone. Simmons is going to come in now. I don't think you can let him go past this batter. No. If he ends up walking Smith. Leonis Martin, the man on deck. Two gifts as base runners via the walk. Lyndon Seager. (3-1) and they're loaded up. Not the debut you want from Jose Valdez. Trying to figure it out, and he can't. Still waiting for the sign from the bullpen to make sure that Guerra is ready to go. That's why Carlos is out on the mound.
As soon as he makes his way back, probably home plate Mike Social will go to the bullpen at that point.
Now they've got the old tip of the cap out in left field. That's going to be it for Valdez. Retired the first batter and then walked the next 3. We're going to have ourselves a pitching change. We are in the 7th inning, and for the 2nd straight inning, the Mariners have them loaded. Dale Esquer is on in relief. The Angels up 6-4. In the 6th inning, it was Mike Moore who came in and shut the door on Seattle and kept the bases loaded and kept the Angels 2-run lead. Now it's Dale Esquer coming on in relief of Valdez, who walked the bases loaded. Dale is coming in for the 25th time this year with the Angels. A 2-0 mark at 2.57 ERA, as I mentioned. Went an inning in 2/3 last night. And it'll be Leonys Martin, the batter, once Guerra is ready to go with his warm-up pitches. Adam Lind, the base runner at 3rd. Kyle Seager, the tying run at 2nd. And Seth Smith, the go-ahead run, standing at 1st. Both teams with 9 hits. Halos have stranded 4. Seattle's left 8. Martin 1 for 3 tonight. Had a single out to left center field in his last at-bat. Infield, of course, looking for a double play ball. Martin with good speed. First one upstairs, another ball. Plenty of those this inning. Good off-speed pitch.
Well, that is a great changeup from Guerra. Martin not real easy to double up. He has rolled into 5 double plays this year.
Outfield at normal depth, playing Martin to pull. There's the 1-1. Breaking pitch out toward left. Shane Robinson racing back. He'll curl around and make the catch. Tagging his Lind. He'll come in to score. It's a sac fly. And the Angels lead is 6-5 as Martin picks up the RBI.
Played well by Shane Robinson. That ball carried very well for Martin. Picks up a sac fly.
So 2 on and 2 outs. John O'Malley, the batter. He'll spin around to hit from the left side for the first time tonight. 5 for 41 from this side of the plate this year. In this game, he's 0 for 3 as Carlos calls for time. Martin, by the way, picking up his 34th run batted in with that sac fly. Robinson in left, Trout to center shallow as O'Malley takes a strike. Cole at normal depth and right. And that is hit well to deep left field. Cole back, he's at the wall, and that is gone. Sean O'Malley has hit a 3-run home run to put Seattle in the lead.
Just his second home run. He's got that foot down. He got a fastball inner half of the plate, and he turned on it and hits it about the 6th row up. It's played by a Seattle Mariner fan. A big 3-run home run. Sean O'Malley.
Second home run of the season for Sean O'Malley. It's a 3-run shot. It's 8-6 Seattle here in the 7th. Already it takes a strike. And again, against a team like Seattle, with their ability to hit the ball out of the ballpark, that's their 3rd home run tonight. You cannot gift base runners, and that's exactly what Valdez did. One ball, one strike. Three of the 4 runs charged to Valdez, 1 to Guerra. 1-1. He went around 1-2. Home run allowed by Deolis, the 4th that he's given up this year. With now 25 games, the unlikeliest of heroes. Sean O'Malley. Change-up, foul tip hung on to by Perez, but the damage is done. A 4-spot hung on the Angels. We'll head to the 8th. 8-6 Seattle.
Mariners an 8-6 lead over the Angels as we head to the top of the 8th inning here at Safeco Field. Ken Fringe back with you, and following the game, it's Angels Live presented by your SoCal Mazda dealers. Join myself and Jose Mota for all the highlights and interviews, and we'll take a look back at a great ceremony before this one as the retired number 24 here in Seattle. And yesterday, Griffey was saying he picked 24 because he hit 24 homers between high school and summer ball one year and stuck with him ever since. It was part of his first apartment address, his first home address. He celebrates 24 years of marriage with his wife Melissa this year, and of course he was inducted to Cooperstown on July 24th. It is very, very clear that Ken Griffey Jr. will be 24 ever. Guys, back to you.
Thanks a lot, Frenchie, as we start the 8th inning, and certainly nice to see Ken Griffey Jr. here in the terrific ceremonies held by the Seattle Mariners in honoring their greatest player.
They did a fantastic job with that.
Tom Wilhelmsen on a relief of Drew Storen to face Andrelton Simmons. Mike Zunino comes in and takes over behind the plate. He's the new catcher. See Tom's numbers. Adam Lynn stays in the game. He's at first. Simmons tonight 1 for 2. Ground ball left side. Seager has it going underneath his glove. O'Malley to the backhand, off balance throw. Gets Simmons for the first out.
Boy, what an inning O'Malley has had. Not only a 3-run home run, but that's an outstanding defensive play for a guy who's played a number of different positions. Once I got by the glove of Seager, I thought for sure it's going to end up being an infield hit, but strong throw across the diamond to get Simmons at first.
Here's G-Man Choi. Takes a strike. Choi, a little dribbler out in front of the plate. Zunino grabs, but they say it's a foul ball. Home plate umpire James Hoy immediately came out and called it foul. It's 1-2.
That was real close too. Good decision by Zunino. Right out of that catching position. James Hoy right on that call. Zunino trying to make sure that ball was fair. It looked like it was just outside the line, the first base line.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Cliff Pennington has come out to the on-deck circle. That's down and in. Time called at the last second. Well, helps it back with Seattle. Was with Texas. Traded in the offseason. Was granted free agency in June. And picked up by Seattle, and Choi goes down looking. 2 down.
Fastball outside corner 96. First strikeout of the game for Seattle pitching.
Paddington hitting .246 with a couple of home runs and 7 runs batted in.
Wilhelmsen will throw a changeup. That's his changeup there. Fastball is going to be 94 to 98 range. Slider, curveball.
Wilhelmsen in 21 games with Texas, just awful this year. A 10.55 ERA, but he has been solid for Seattle, this being his 14th game with the Mariners this year. No record in a .238 ERA. Tom gave up 38 hits and 21 in the third out of the Rangers' pen. 1-1. Pennington fouls it off. 1-2. This is the guy that we've seen before coming out of the Mariner pen, not the guy that we saw pitching for Texas.
And he's always had very good stuff. At one point, Seattle even thought about putting him in the rotation.
Yeah. 29 saves for the Mariners in 2012, 24 the following season. This one misses outside. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes. Angels have Jhoulys Chacin. At least they did have him warming up at the pen. 8-6 Seattle. We're at the top of the 8th. Breaking ball. That hit him. Nope.
Pretty close to his toe.
Yep. I'm surprised that it didn't. It's a full count now. Carlos Perez on deck. It's a called strike 3, and Wilhelmsen with a 1-2-3-8 will head to the bottom of the inning. It's 8-6 Seattle.
Bottom of the 8th inning on Ken Griffey Jr. retirement jersey night tonight here in Seattle, and a flashback to the 1995 ALDS Game 5, arguably the biggest run scored in Seattle history, and it's Ken Griffey Jr. scoring all the way from first on the double by Edgar Martinez, and they're able to come back. They were down 2-0, came back with 3 straight wins. Ken Griffey Jr., 5 home runs in that series. And there's Edgar, the hit machine himself. At some point, you're going to see his name and jersey retired up here.
Well, there's no doubt. That hit is the hit that built Safeco Field, they say.
I remember watching that series. The energy at the Kingdome at that point. Be able to carry that over to this ballpark here.
It's Blackjack McDowell on the mound for the Yankees. 1 ball, 1 strike. Mentioned Chacin on the mound, taking over for Dale Oscarab. 2/3 of an inning, gave up a run. 3 of the 4 runs charged to Jose Valdez in the 7th inning. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Franklin Gutierrez. 3 for 4 tonight.
When you look back over the years, they had some really good players wearing that Seattle Mariner uniform. Not a lot of success for a while. Started there that 1995 season. Edgar Martinez, a big part of that. Jay Buhner, who was here tonight. Some big hits over his career as a Seattle Mariner.
Gutierrez goes down looking for the first out. So he'll finish the game a triple shy of the cycle. So 1 out, nobody on. Here is Robinson Cano. Cano tied 1 for 4. He'll look at a strike. Halos in the ninth will have 8, 9, and 1 due up. Perez, Giavotella, and Escobar. Edwin Diaz, whom the Angels were introduced to last night, getting ready in the pen for Seattle. 0-2.
With a live arm, we saw that last night, 101 miles an hour on his fastball, but all 3 strikeouts on his slider.
One, two. Foul. Nelson Cruz on deck. This one's out toward right field. It's got some carry, but he'll stay in the yard. 2 down.
Just out in front of it enough to keep that in the ballpark.
Went down and got that off-speed pitch. 2 outs, nobody on, and Nelson Cruz, the DH coming up. Cruz 0 for 4. 6 runs, 9 hits, an error, and 4 left on for the Angels. 8 runs, 10 hits, 8 left on for Seattle.
Well, with a swing like that, you got to expand the strike zone, even bounce one if you have to, if you're Shashin here.
Tried it. Do it again?
Yeah, I think, especially after you saw the swing of that pitch 2 pitches ago, I think you try it again.
Cruz fouls it back. One, two, and Cruz skies this one toward the shortstop, Andrelton Simmons. Johnny Giavotella had a thought of catching it, but Andrelton cuts him off. And the Mariners are down in order here in the 8th. We'll head to the 9th inning. Angels down 8-6. top of the ninth inning. Want to remind Kings and Ducks fans, wonder what your teams have been up to this offseason. Well, Tuesday, Patrick O'Neill and Sean O'Donnell, update you on all things Kings with the Kings Live offseason report. But not to be outdone, then Wednesday, it's the Ducks' turn with Ducks Live offseason report with Kent French and Guy Hebert. Get caught up with all the SoCal hockey happenings right here on Fox Sports West.
Wow, it's already a freeway face-off.
Yep. Edwin Diaz, who came in and closed it down for Seattle last night, on a relief here in the ninth once again. He's got 8, 9, and 1 due up at Perez, Giavatella, and Escobar. This will be his 28th big league game. 0-2 record, 1.93 ERA, and he notched his third save of the season last night.
And we talked about that fastball, 95 to 99, even touched 101 last night. Slider, changeup.
56 strikeouts in 28 innings of work. Carlos Perez, 1 for 2. First one down low. It's a fairly free and easy upper 90s fastball too.
Yeah, that arm action he has is very smooth.
Ground ball toward the hole, and it's a base hit. Leadoff single. Carlos jumping on that fastball. Grounds one through the left side. The Angels will bring the tying run to the plate at Johnny Giavatella.
Especially with this type of fastball, all you got to do is make good contact and go a long, long way. Baseball has been carrying very well in these first 2 games here at Safeco Field.
Fastball low. It's that bottom part of the zone that James Hoy has not called all night.
Again, easily could have been called a strike.
Johnny pops it up, got jammed on the fastball. Cano moves over. 1 down. There's Escobar. You now 0 for 3 tonight. Diaz last night striking out the side. It was Trout, Pujols, and Simmons. Off speed pitch. Looked like it caught the top part of the zone, but doesn't get the call.
Man, that's where he threw that slider quite a bit yesterday.
One.
Now that's a nasty slider.
Mentioned all the strikeouts that Diaz has racked up. Recorded his 50th strikeout in 25 1/3 inning, the fastest of any pitcher to make his major league debut since 1893. 2-2 outside, full count. Calhoun on deck. Diaz made his big league debut on June the 6th. Three-two. It's ground ball toward third. Seager to Cano. The relay back to first. In time, according to the first base umpire, Gabe Morales. Mike Scioscia is going to have a look at it. He's going to check it.
Yeah,
he's not
you
even
have
going to
to
bother asking Steve Solis to look at it. Gabe Morales looked like he was going to call him safe and then changed his mind at the last second.
That's really close, though.
Very close. Yeah, it looked like he was ready to call him safe.
Certainly had a smile on his face when he called him out. Thought he made the right call. I think he might have got him.
I think he may have as well.
See, that foot has not quite got to the base. Wow, that's extremely close. It's going to be difficult to overturn it.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Adam Neville is going to go out and check on Escobar. Looks like the headsets are coming off. And out is the call, so it's a 5-4-3 game-ending double play, and the Angels drop the second game of the series by the final of 8-6.
Boy, just like last night, started out very promising with a 3-run home run to start the game by Mike Trout, but Seattle, with their power, came all the way back in this game and pulled this one out 8-6. Tyler Skaggs was in position to pick up a second win, but the bullpen could not hold the lead.
Tough one. You mentioned it, another tough one for the Angels bullpen. 8-6 the final. We'll wrap up this three-game set tomorrow afternoon. Stick around. Ken French, Jose Mota will wrap things up with Angels Live postgame. That's coming up next.